Hello, beautifuls. So, I wanted to hop on live to talk about something that I've been seeing with some of my clients, and I think it would be useful for you to hear about, which is why things aren't moving off the apps. So, the first reason could be your profile. That might be why you're not meeting anyone on the apps. But if that's happening, you are meeting men on the apps, but you're struggling to get off of them onto dates, first dates, second dates. You may be matching with men, you are messaging with them, but then it seems to just always kind of fizzle out and fade. Or he gets bored with the communication, or you get bored, then cancel and then don't reschedule. Maybe you get to a first date, but then you're not getting to a second date. And using the apps feels like pulling teeth, and you're wondering if it's a waste of time. I want to talk about one of the likely reasons that you are struggling to get off the apps and build real connections with men that last. So, how do you do that? And what might be getting in the way? So, it is likely that you do not know how to build emotional connection and attraction with a man. So I'm going to be talking about one of my beautiful clients who I had a call with today. She's a rock star. She implements everything so quickly. She's so coachable. And she came to our call today confused about why she wasn't getting asked on more dates. So we had already created an amazing dating profile. And since then, she was hearing consistently from men who were aligned with what she was looking for and was having promising starts to conversations with these men. They were really responding to things on her profile. And then she was having these often conversations that would go on for a week with several men. They were clearly attracted to her and interested in her, but then they were not moving off the apps into actual dates. So she'd even had a man plan a date and then have to cancel it, and then there was no follow-up date planned, and this was so frustrating. So let me know if you're there, if this is something you've been struggling with, because this video is for you. So I knew that it wasn't my client's profile that was the issue, because she was matching with lots of men, and these were all men who were high quality and of what she was looking for. So I knew it was the interactions she was having with these men on the apps that were missing something. They were not going as well as they could. Otherwise, she would have been asked on more dates, and she had so many conversations that were getting started. So on her call, I sat down with her and looked through all of her conversations with these men. These are conversations with more recent men that she was currently talking to, or things that had just fizzled. So it was about 5+ quality men. And I noticed something really important that explained why things weren't moving off the apps, because she was really good at holding conversations. These conversations were long, they seemed engaged, but what was happening was that she wasn't creating emotional connection and attraction with these men. So there wasn't anything in her responses that was speaking to men on a primal emotional level. And there are about 6 specific emotions that a man needs to feel with you in order to want to move things forward with you. And if just a few of them are present in your initial conversations, things are going to move a lot faster. So when this wasn't happening, there just wasn't enough there that would trigger these men to care about her on a deeper level, want to know her on a deeper level, dying to ask her out and to meet her. So in my client's case, let's just talk about what I was seeing. So she was asking men questions and she was responding to their questions. And there were long conversations going on. So on the surface level, it looked like things were flowing and should be flowing, but they weren't. So let's say you see a photo on a man's profile and you make a comment about it. And let's say it's a photo of him in the water where he's swimming with a shark, Actually, he's like holding the shark. I want to give you two different ways that you might communicate about your interest about that photo. One way is going to spark a deeper emotional connection, and one will not. So you could say, wow, cool picture of you swimming with the sharks. Where was that taken? And it seems to be like showing interest and it's recognizing the picture. Versus you could say, wow, I love that picture of you swimming with the sharks. You clearly are brave and also kind-hearted the way you were holding that shark. I love that. Where was it taken? So I want you to just pause for a minute and think about these two responses. Which of these two messages do you think would spark something in a man? And actually, let me know in the comments, number one or number two response. Which one do you think is going to spark something in him? If you were a man, which one would you have a greater emotional response to? And let me know why you think that is. So I'm going to give you another example. So a man asks you on a date. He plans the date, he makes the reservations, and your response is, great, see you then. Versus responding and saying, thanks so much for planning this date. It feels so good to have you do that. I'm excited to meet you. Again, I want you to tell me in the comments which of these two responses is going to get a man more emotionally invested in you and why. The first one or the second one. If you were this man, let's just pretend that you are this man, would you rather, when you ask a woman out for a date, would you rather a woman who isn't super expressive, you can't really tell that she is excited about you or the date or like anything really? Or would you be more excited to meet a woman who seems happy with you and responds warmly and positively to you? One woman or one response is going to make this man feel like he's winning with you. And he will start to feel intense emotional attraction. He will be excited to move things forward. And in both of these examples I just gave, it's the second response. So we sat there and we went through each of my clients' ongoing conversations. I helped her craft responses to these men that would trigger their emotional attraction and their instinct to pursue her from an authentic place, because the thing is, she had the ability to do that. It was actually already within her. It just wasn't coming out in her expression. So I taught her important distinctions in how to communicate with men in a way that no one teaches us. Like, we're not going to be learning this at school. Where are you going to learn this, right? And it often doesn't come naturally to most women at first. What happened, literally, as we were sitting there on this hour-long call, is that messages with these men began flying back and forth the moment she began to do this. She got asked out on a date immediately, literally while we were sitting there on the call after she had crafted a response. And another man who she had crafted a response with me asked to move things off the app. So she emailed me later today and was like, she can't keep up with all the messages that are flying right now. So what I want you to know is that any woman can get these kind of results. But what is required is often counterintuitive and can be scary at first, and it takes practice until it's natural. So if you're a woman who is ready to have men pursuing her, asking her out, dying to make you happy, and claim you as his woman, you need to learn these things about communication with men and the things that men need from you as a woman. We could call this feminine communication, speaking to him as a man. No one teaches us this stuff. So this is not to make you feel shame that you don't know how. It's to help you see where you may have blind spots, that there is a real reason that you're struggling with finding and keeping a man. Even if you're not on the apps, it can be in person as well. And having that happy, loving, deeply emotionally connected and committed relationship that a man actually pursued you to have and is very intense about how he feels about you, and that relationship that gets better with time. And this is why men may not be pursuing you like mad, wanting to make you happy, even though they could be. So one thing that might be going on is something about your communication with men. So, in the High Value Woman, my 5 month group coaching program, you not only get several specific training videos and a module teaching you exactly how to communicate with men, what they need from you from an authentic place, because we are not about manipulation or cheap tricks or even scripts. You also are going to get live coaching in the group calls as well as the one-on-one calls where you get your communication with men looked at and tweaked so it's easy to get off the apps and onto the first and second date and beyond. You even have a private Facebook group where you can post conversations and get feedback on those outside of the calls. You will learn in these videos, in these modules, you will learn about how the tone of the communication sets from the very first message, from your very first date. And so it's important to set that tone right because once you set it, it's kind of going to set forever. So if you want a man who is devotional towards you, you need to set up that dynamic from the start. It starts with your communication. We're going to go over the habits of communication. Some of us have that work against building that romantic connection and emotional attraction with a man. So some of the things that we're doing that are working against that. What men need to feel from us in order to move things forward. How to avoid the endless texting and messaging situations that are probably happening for you right now. How to stand out from all the other women he's talking to through knowing these things while still being 100% authentically yourself. Feminine versus masculine communication, so how to communicate from an embodied place with men. The words that will make him fall for you and not want to risk losing you. How to handle situations where you aren't getting asked out after a while, because this can happen. And I want you to just understand how knowing how to communicate with men isn't just for the apps. It's for all your communications with him in person and not. It's what wins his heart for the long term. It's for your first date, your second date, third date, and on. There are specific things that men need from us, just like there are specific things that we need from them, right? So the High Value Woman program, our round starts in a couple of weeks. You will be getting 8 content-packed modules covering everything from the inner work, healing core wounds and beliefs, handling triggers, rewiring negative beliefs, to setting up your dating profile, where and how to meet quality men off the apps, how to date like a high-value woman, communicating with men, identifying quality, commitment-ready men, getting clarity on what you really want and need, questions about how to handle intimacy, and understanding men. They are not just hairy women. So clients who have gone through this work with me have attracted their dream men in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, and gone on to have committed relationships with these dream men within about 2 months of meeting them. And they are still happily together years later. So if you would like to explore joining the mastermind or working with me, then DM me for the link to schedule a free consultation call where we'll just sit and chat about where you are and what's going on and see if working together is a fit for you. The results of this work will literally blow your mind and they will change your love life and other areas of your life forever. So I can't wait to connect with you and help you attract your dream man and have that dream relationship. And I'm going to sign off now and I will see you later. Bye.